The Porsche 911 is maybe one of the last vehicles you think you'd ever bring on a long road trip. But Aether, yes that's right, the clothing company, held an event in late July to do exactly that. Let's dive right in. This is my personal 2006 Porsche 911 base model. Now when this rolled off the assembly line, it came with nothing but basically a 6-speed manual gearbox, 325 horsepower, and a god-awful radio, which has long been replaced. So, will this do better on a longer road trip than my Toyota 4Runner? Will I be happy with it? Parts are harder to come by if anything goes south, plus it really has no spare tire. So, will this be a better road trip car overall? Will I have issues? Let's dive right in. Precisely at 9:11, I arrived at Aether in the heart of Los Angeles on La Brea and found myself surrounded with tons of classic 911s and one E-Type. Before the 278-mile road trip, I checked in for my wristband, got some coffee, made several questionable bathroom breaks, and just like I did earlier, some others also poured an additional quart of oil before the trip. A little after 10 a.m. we headed out of La Brea and crossed into the heart of Hollywood and onto the 101 freeway. Getting out of LA was pretty terrible, but once we were out of the city limits, the roads began to clear up and about 50 911s of all generations and one E-Type hit the road. While I was editing this footage, I noticed my onboard mic actually wasn't on, so instead of listening to all the important stuff I had to say, you get to listen to this voiceover. The drive to Ojai was really smooth, and the 150 offered some really great roads with minor twists and turns. A great intro to our lunch in Ojai, and one of the best burritos I've ever had. But just like my microphone, I didn't capture that moment either. But if this were a food review, then there is nothing that can compare to the dessert. Highway 33. This stretch of road between Ojai and a sketchy gas station of 70 miles was some of the best roads any enthusiast could ever want. Wide open straights, hairpin turns, balancing off camber, this was nothing but majestic. And I brought one of the best cars ever engineered out here. This is truly where the 911 shined. Shifting in high revs between second and third in the corners, I very much felt the car come to life here. All the nervousness and fear I had of reliability and tires went out the window. After 50 miles of harsh driving, this car kept asking for more. Because of that breakfast burrito that I ate, I was done before the 911 was, but we had to keep pushing forward. After completing 50% of the trip, we arrived at the Sketchy gas station. Millions of dollars worth of cars in an area where there was no lock on the bathroom and gas was $6.99 a gallon. It didn't matter because this group I was with had some of the most wonderful people I've ever met of all ages and backgrounds. But we all wanted the same thing, to get out of there really, really fast. The last stretch of the drive is where things got kind of interesting. After starting off strong, we ended up at a traffic light in the middle of nowhere that seemed to last forever. It took so long to change that the entire group of Porsche owners got out of their cars. But what turned into an annoyance actually turned out to be the point we all really started to become friends. It ended up taking 15 minutes or so for the light to change, and once we got back in our cars, we continued on Highway 56. That is until some of us actually took a detour, mildly got lost, and found another scenic drive. Getting lost actually ended up being one of the best moments of the trip because the road was absolutely great. There was twists and turns and really technical areas of it, and it was one of the most memorable parts of the entire drive. After a while, we found ourselves back on the 101 freeway and ended up to our destination. When we arrived, we were met with wine, beer, and pizza. Another thing I didn't capture, just like my microphone. Some had also decided to camp in their 911s for the evening. I did not. I ended up driving home that night another 250 plus miles. Yes, I ended up driving for more than 12 hours and 500 miles in one day in a car that proved my doubts. My 20-year-old 911 from 2006 took me to and from a destination with no issues and in style and comfort. This was truly a memorable trip, and I was very grateful for the company, Aether, who was able to get me out for the day and enjoy one of the best road trips in one of the best cars ever made. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and don't forget to leave a comment below, just like Nola Hans from my Mazda Miata video. Please drive a manual transmission version, bro, with the top down. Trust me, I really wanted to get the manual version. It was not available, probably within my budget, but I couldn't find it. So if you have one, I don't know, I would love to test it out. The Ojai from the 997 video. Your words are completely drowned out by the music. What the hell? Fair. Alpha Zulu 009 from the Desadia video says, say ta. Okay, thank you. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. Desada. All right, thanks guys, and see you next time.